Hey there, welcome to another Photoshop tutorial from Tutcast.com. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate a wonderful feature in Photoshop to help you edit your projects non-destructively. Over the years, Adobe has introduced many features to help you undo your edits, which were once permanent. Adjustment layers is one example. In the past, adding an adjustment, for example, levels, applied the adjustment directly on the current layer. With adjustment layers, you can add a levels adjustment as its own layer, giving you the opportunity to edit or remove it later on. Smart Objects is another great way to edit non-destructively. Many users, usually without thinking, have gone ahead and reduced the size of rasterized images and then tried to enlarge them later on in their projects. Now, when you originally reduce a rasterized image, it condenses the pixels to compensate for the new smaller size. But no record of the original pixels are kept. And if you then try to enlarge the same photos, the pixels will stretch and become distorted and blurry. Using Smart Objects on your layers will store the original pixels of your layer so that you can restore your edits later on. Let's take a look. Here's an image in its original size. Notice that all the pixels are sharp and the image looks great. Now, let's go ahead and use the free transform tool by pressing Command or Control T on your keyboard to shrink the image down nice and small. Now, grab the transform tool once again and enlarge the image back to its original size. Notice that once I accept the changes, how the pixels are distorted and the overall quality of the image has degraded a lot. Now we're going to do the exact same thing, but this time we're going to convert our layer to a Smart Object. Simply right-click on your layer and select Convert to Smart Object. You can tell your layer is a Smart Object by the small thumbnail at the bottom right-hand corner of that layer. This indicates to us that it has saved all the pixel information about that layer. Again, let's transform our image. Here's the image shrunken down. And now, notice once I enlarge the image once again and accept the transform, the layer looks just like it did right before I converted it to a Smart Object. All the pixels have been restored 100%. Now I will note that Smart Objects isn't a miracle tool. You can shrink and enlarge all you want as long as you don't exceed the original layer's data. If your layer was, let's say, 900 pixels wide and 600 pixels tall, this won't allow you to enlarge past that point without distortion. Just like any other image, if you try and enlarge it, it will become distorted. So that's all fine and dandy, but there has to be a catch, right? Well, of course there is. Unfortunately, there are some things you can't do directly to a smart layer. One example are brush tools. Brush tools will not work once you have made the conversion. If we grab our brush tool and attempt to paint on the layer, we'll be told that the layer must be rasterized before we are able to make any edits. This means that our pixel data will be lost. However, there is a way to edit the layer. Head over to your layer and double-click the icon. This is going to allow us to edit the original layer when we first converted it. A box will appear that will inform us that we must save our changes once we have completed editing. Press OK and then proceed with your editing. You'll notice that the layer has become its own document in the tabs at the top. Let's quickly turn the grass a nice shade of blue in this image. When your edit is complete, head to File and then click on Save. Now you can safely close the current document. Photoshop has now included your new edits in the original data of that layer. But wait, there's more. There's more that Smart Objects can do to help you edit without worrying about the future. Many users love using filters, but hate realizing later that the filter that they used looks terrible. Good news though, Smart Objects works with filters too. Not all of them, but pretty close. As long as you have your layer converted to a Smart Object, you are free to add filters as you normally would. Instead of the filter getting applied directly on top of your image, it will appear below the layer, similar to the way that layer styles are added. Now, later on, you can edit or remove any of the filters that you have added. Very, very helpful. And that's Smart Objects in Photoshop. Smart Objects are available in Photoshop CS2 and above. Yet another great way to edit your photos non-destructively.